Well, his name is Spam Kokelwa lento kaThixo iyandisebenzela khoizame nawe ingakusiza. It simply means that whatever trouble, whatever problems you're facing, try the Lord. He will help you and He will assist you in all of your troubles, in all of your cares. Beautiful song there. I love the beat as well. So on and forth we go. This is how we start the show today. Rather gloomy day outside. It's been raining most part of today and yesterday, bitterly cold as well. Yeah, I saw in Lesotho the mountains are white with snow there. So so keep warm if you're able. And it also challenges us that there are those we cannot simply say keep warm and they keep warm. It needs all of us to come together, those blankets, those clothes, those, food parcels. We need to take care of God's people who can't look after themselves. That as it may be, I've got my first guest of the day on the PK, the pastor's kid. I wonder. Her name is Lwandile Mathabela. Lwandile, good evening. Good evening, Lwandile. Are you well? Right. Lwandile, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
But, right, you are live and direct on Radio K Pulpit, Lwandile. It's so good to have you here. So are you well? Did you have a good day?
I had an amazing day. Thank you for asking.
Wonderful. I believe you are writing your exams at this time of the year. How is that coming up?
It's coming up. It's going good so far.
That is wonderful. That is great. Like, Lwandile, quickly, how old are you? Let's establish that so that we know at what level to engage.
I am 16 years old.
Oh, sweet 16. That is absolutely stunning. Now then, your father is a pastor, yes?
Yes, he is.
Oh, wonderful, because that means we're speaking to the right person here. Now, tell us about what it's like to have a father who is a pastor and for yourself to be a pastor's kid. How is that experience like?
I think it's definitely different, especially when you're talking about principles. We grew up differently, or I grew up differently from other kids. There are things we are taught to do differently. We address ourselves differently when it comes to certain situations. We never find ourselves in different consequences because of how we were raised.
Yeah.
So I think we have boundaries when it comes to specific things.
Give me an example
of pastor's kid.
All right, continue.
Because of there are specific things that you cannot do if you are a pastor's kid, and like we're supposed to be raised up as Christians and trained up in a way that we don't forget when we're older. And I think that is how I've been raised, especially considering the fact that I am a pastor's kid.
Do you want to give us some of a few examples, maybe one or two examples of what you mean when you say you're raised different and there are certain things that you don't do?
Okay, an example maybe is that sometimes, no, not sometimes, most of the times I find that the people in my class or my peers will go out partying and will go out and do things that I don't even dream about doing, because I know that it leads to other things that as a Christian, it is not right for you to do. So the drinking, the smoking, the pregnancies, all of these things that other kids are engaging in, I don't do because of the way I was raised underneath household that is strictly Christian.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now then, Is it a boring thing to be a pastor's kid? Are you expected to be boring, to not have a life? When friends are saying we're going to the mall, you're like, oh, I can't go. I'm a pastor's kid. Does it mean that you actually signed up for a super boring life?
I don't think, okay, for me, I don't consider it boring
Mm,
because it's the life I'm used to. So it's not really boring for me. I can imagine how it could be boring for someone else, but for me it's not really boring considering the fact that we do still have fun.
okay.
There's just, I think we have different definitions for fun.
Yeah.
We have our fun differently than what other people would consider fun. So it's definitely not boring. It's just maybe different from what other people would consider to be fun.
All right. No, that makes a lot of sense. Now, what I really would want to know. So, are there any pressures that come with being the child of the pastor? Even in the church setup, are you expected to be different, to do things differently as a pastor's kid?
Okay, pressure. I wouldn't say there is any pressure for me, but in the church, we are expected to lead by example. There are people who could come to church like and not know how to act when they're in church and maybe think that being at church and being at a club is the same thing. So they need to see from the pastor's kids how you're supposed to act and how you're supposed to conduct yourself
Mm,
when
mm,
you're in
mm.
church. So I think that's something that we as pastors' kids have to show the rest of the people in the church, especially our peers.
Oh, do you think it's important for young people to get born again, to know Christ for themselves? Or, as they say, there's still time and all of that. Do you think it's important for you to know Christ for yourself and get born again at your early age of 16?
I think it's very important. Actually, I feel like the earlier the better. You're gonna be saving yourself from making a lot of mistakes that you wouldn't have done if you were born again. I feel like knowing Christ early
Mm,
is is a good thing. Being born again is a good thing since being born again is the only way
mm.
into heaven, basically. So I
Hallelujah.
feel like being born again when you are at a young age just basically saves you from making a lot of mistakes because it definitely comes with discipline because being born again is not just the only step to being born again. There's things that you have to do
Yeah.
after being born again
Mm, mm, mm.
that will help you in your journey, which then teaches you to be disciplined. So I feel like it will help you, save you from making a lot of mistakes.
I hear you. So now, the Bible. Do you find yourself having to read the Bible all the time? Do you enjoy reading the Bible?
Um, okay, I feel like for me myself, I really enjoy reading the Bible. I feel like it's one of the ways where I feel closer to God.
Yeah.
I like I see that in the Bible, I get most of the answers that other people look for in other ways. I find my answers in the Bible. I
Mm-hmm.
find my inspiration in the Bible. So I mostly find myself reading the Bible for any situation. Actually, when I'm
Yeah.
happy, I go to the Bible. When I'm upset, I go to the Bible. It really helps me to channel whatever emotion I'm feeling
Mm-hmm.
in a way that is acceptable.
So, any favorite scriptures in the Bible for you?
I think my favorite has to be Psalms 91.
Oh, wow.
By far, it has to be one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I also enjoy reading the book of Proverbs. I don't have a specific verse in the book of Proverbs. I just like the book of Proverbs, but my favorite has to be Psalms 91.
It's a beautiful, beautiful scripture. Psalm 91 it's the psalm of go-to psalm for protection and making sure that you are safe. Wonderful. So now, let me give you 30 seconds to address young people. It's Youth Month, and we are opening Youth Month. Today is the 5th. So what can you say to other young girls, especially who are listening to you right now?
Okay, I can say that we need to be strong in the word, specifically in the word of God. We need to find ourselves reading the Bible a lot, because I know from myself, being a girl comes with a lot of pressure. I feel like as a girl in the society, you're expected to be a lot of things, to do a lot of things, and not just in the society, maybe in your household where you live, you're expected to do different things. For other people, it would drive them into depression. So I feel like if you strengthen your relationship with God through praying, through constantly finding yourself praying, and through reading the Bible, you will find the answers to most of the questions that you are finding yourself with. You don't have to go and find the answers elsewhere, which in most cases it would lead you to trouble. It um it it, it normally doesn't have a good result. So I feel like we need to strengthen ourselves. We need to find ourselves talking to God constantly, looking through the Bible, seeing what God is expecting us to do from the scriptures, just being closer to God. And also Thanksgiving is also a big part. We
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
be grateful for even the smallest things, the smallest thing, as waking up, opening your eyes. Just this morning alone, a lot of people didn't make it to today. So just the gift of waking up in the morning, just knowing that God still has a plan for you, we need to be grateful for that. So we need to thank God every day. There is no one who wakes up in the morning and then does not say, and then says they do not have a testimony. Just waking up in the morning, going to school and back, or to
Yeah, that's
work and back,
powerful.
without car accidents, without any
Mm.
complications, getting back from work, having food on your table. That's the big testimony on its own. There's a lot of people who don't have these things we consider basic, so
Yeah.
we need to be grateful for all of these things.
Lwandile Mathabela, thank you very much for coming through to the show. You are a true blessing, and your father is really blessed to have you as a daughter. And he is not the only pastor in your house, because you sound very pastoral yourself. Thank you for coming through. God bless you.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful stuff. There you have it, our first guest of the day, Lwandile Mathabela. We take one quick song and welcome Pastor David, Pastor Dennis. What am I talking about? Pastor Dennis, when we come back.
You are listening to Radio Cape Pulpit on 729 AM. Your radio compass on the road to true living.